Bryan Carrington, the cornerbacks coach, and also a part of Arizona State. What a story it's been with Kenny Dillingham and company, and in a position now to have a chance to play for the Big 12 title, and even more than that, he joins us. Bryan, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. What has it been like to watch this surge and what this team has accomplished this year? And let's be honest, a lot of people weren't expecting it, at least outside the program.
Well, it's been exciting. I mean, to bring forth Coach Dillingham's vision from when we arrived here in late 2022 to be where we are now is refreshing. I'm not going to say it was expected, but it's something to where we're kind of seeing dividends on the fruits of our labor kind of early in right now. And that's providing a lot of extreme buy-in, from our targeted demographic at this time.
Bryan, I mean, Coach Dillingham said that you guys were kind of a year ahead of where he expected you to be, but this team felt from the very beginning like it was a very motivated team because, especially the guys that came back, they couldn't go to a bowl game. They found that out before the season started. It was really kind of took the wind out of their sails and attacked it with a vengeance. Was any of that fuel for this year, or was last year just gone and it was a new thing?
It was fuel. A lot of it was premeditated by Coach Dillingham. A part of recruiting isn't just from a talent standpoint, it's from a makeup standpoint. We want to find the right kind of guys. That sounds cliche, but you want guys that love football, that want to strain, that want to be on a team to kind of achieve one vision and not have a team full of mercenaries and not have a team where you have agendas. And so taking over this program was kind of bringing in the right human beings that are good people that happen to be really good at football and want to pour in and build something. A lot of days now, kids coming up, they're more conscious of who's winning now instead of looking underneath the hood. If you would have looked underneath the hood from the time we got here to the start of the season, there was optimism in the building. And, through 10, 11 weeks of the season, you can kind of see little fruits of our labor.
What was your first interaction with Kenny Dillingham like, and just how has that relationship kind of blossomed? And he just seems like a really likable guy, a really smart guy, a really fun guy to work for. What's that relationship kind of been like as it's blossomed?
Yeah, we have an unbelievable relationship, I would say, thus far. Obviously, I'm a firm believer that talent is everywhere in this country. Opportunity is not. So for Kenny, Coach Dillingham, to give me this opportunity, I'm very grateful for it. The opportunity that I have right now here at Arizona State, but, a lot of energy, a lot of juice, a lot of passion. And so when you have a coach that has a lot of juice, a lot of energy, a lot of passion, it kind of, spills over in every other facet of our program. So, every day you see Kenny, he's full of life. He's full of energy. He's full of juice. I kind of met Kenny organically. He jumped in my DMs on Twitter one day when I was back at the University of Texas, and it kind of snowballed over the course of years. And the stars kind of aligned for us here in Arizona in late December of 2022.
Bryan, you've recruited Texas. You're from Texas. You've recruited the state for quite some time. Did CJ Fite's name ever come up on your radar? Because he has become one hell of a player for Arizona State.
Absolutely. CJ Fite was on the radar. Actually, he was probably the first task once we got this job was to retain CJ Fite, let that guy know that he's wanted. And from my background being in the state of Texas, we can call it what we want. It's a lot of politics in the state of Texas for a kid that may not stretch out and be 6'4", that might not have the desired length and height for, the blue bloods in the world. So we believe that one man's trash is another man's treasure, so CJ Fite has been able to hit the ground running, and, hopefully we got a big flag for all the kids in East Texas with CJ Fite's face on it.
You're on the defensive side of the ball, so you have to coach against him in practice. Do you often have to tell Cam Sexton not to lower the shoulder into his own guys? Because he is a tank.
Well, it's protect the team, always from a practice standpoint, PTT, so we practice hard. We practice, with enthusiasm, but we're also smart about, wear and tear, especially this part of the season. But trust, from a cornerback standpoint, I got corners that are, under 180 pounds. This was definitely in fall camp. Hey man, limit the the collisions. Tag them off. I understand it's not something that you want to prove a point to show us that you can tackle scat. I mean, that guy's a handful.
There's another big-time Texas player on your guys' roster who's performing really well right now, Jordan Tyson. And from your position, you guys get a very up-close look at him as well. He's having a great year. I don't know how many people are taking notice just yet, but you get to see him every day. What makes him such a great player and such a challenge for opposing defenses?
Yeah, he's probably been tremendous to our success at cornerback. To go against Jordan Tyson Monday through Friday and not see Jordan Tyson on Saturdays is a relief. This is a guy that's savvy, that understands the position of the game, that's genetically blessed. He has a brother that is a first-round pick, plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So this guy was blessed from the womb with genetics. And, basketball players make pretty good wide receivers. So, to see this guy touch the ball as much as he does on Saturday and become productive, especially, with the hardships that he's had with injuries and kind of getting back healthy and getting his train back on the tracks, to see him and Sam blossom at this stage of the career, it's super optimistic. Those guys should be the face of the league, from an offensive standpoint. From this point to the start of next year, those guys got a lot of meat left on the bone.
Craig and Paul both brought up the importance of Texas. I mentioned Fight. He mentioned Tyson. And you, of course, have recruited. You've said you could, at certain places, get certain type of players, 5-star or otherwise. Is that something that Arizona State can get into, or do you feel like you need to make sure it fits what you need there in Tempe?
I mean, we don't pay attention. I've never been one to pay attention to recruiting rankings. We evaluate. We have a thorough process on how we evaluate and grade guys. And similar to the NFL draft, it doesn't matter where Mel Kiper ranks you. It's a bunch of guys sitting in the green room on day 2 of the draft that Mel Kiper may have had top 15. But what really matters is where you are on our board, on Arizona State's board, and we really take out, the internet. When I watch and evaluate a kid, I don't look at his 24/7 sports profile, on 3 rivals, you name it. It's really about the player. And then you take what you see from the player, and then it's about the in-person interacting with this player. Is this a guy that loves football? Is this a guy that's going to strain? Is this a guy that fits in our program? When guys come on official visit, our players know, the pillars that we stand on. So we can pass off a recruit with our players, that guy get a true experience of Arizona State, and then get that tangible feedback from your players that they either endorse that this kid can last, or, hey, coach, he's not one of us. And so when you have something like that, it's special, because as coaches, we can preach our message all we want, but the players, our recruits that are experiencing and enjoying this college experience and living at Arizona State, their testament to this program is a heavy, heavy variable in the formula, in the algorithm of us getting a kid to say yes to Arizona State. So when you have that formula, great things happen. You're able to recruit guys at a really high level. Instead, it could be the other way around. It could be we not having a really good culture. We can push all we want, but the players are leading kids away from Arizona State. So the stars are aligned right now, and right now it appears that we're the flavor of the month. The phones haven't stopped ringing about 2 weeks ago, and we're just trying to make the most of the opportunity and where we are right now.
You, the backdrop, the campus, everything that's going on outside of football has always been great at Arizona State. It's been easy, I'm sure, to get in the past to get kids on campus to come to Tempe and see that. Now that you guys are having success, you're starting to see that, like, oh, not only this is a cool place to live and it's an awesome school, but no, they can kick some ass in the football field too.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's a part of what I just told you a little bit earlier, just finding guys that love, live, breathe football, guys that want to be in our building no matter what. I mean, it's essential. I mean, this is a beautiful place to live. This is a skill guy heaven. Outside, you don't even see a cloud in the sky right here, behind us. But we play this Saturday, November 23rd, in the winter, and it's going to be 75 degrees at 1:30 playing BYU. If that's not a strong selling point to recruits that come out of town, which is going to be a big weekend this weekend, I don't know what else could. I mean, even, I'd be worried about opposing players coming to Arizona State playing November 23rd. They need to get to the locker room after the game. It shouldn't be no conversations because, this place is infectious.
Bryan, what made you want to be a coach?
What made me want to be a coach is to be closer to the football game. Really, I was big on relationships, early on in my career, and I felt like I didn't control certain variables to aid that relationship through their college experience. So instead of being a front door step of the university, how about I walk every step of the way of a kid from living room to walking across the stage with Roger Goodell. Why not?
Bryan, I know you got to go. And by the way, I know it's a huge game coming up this weekend. When you look at the way college football is as someone who recruits players in your philosophy, how much has it changed from the time when you walked in the door because of all the changes with the portal and NIL and just the expansion of where football's going?
A great question. I would say college football, the last 25 years will not look like the next 25 years. The mind of kids growing up, they have much more eclectic interests than football. And now we feel that, it's going to be a lot of parity in the sport. So now it becomes these kids are getting revenue shares. These kids are going to have some form of income. Then it becomes, where do you want to live? To be in the 5th largest city in America, to be in a city that's climate friendly for young people. If we continue to produce an unbelievable football product, we're going to be set up to be a sustainable program that should be a tier 1 program in the Big 12 to infinity and beyond. It is going to be, in my opinion, an exodus to metropolises, to heavily populated areas that can cater and cultivate, a social experience as well as an athletic experience now, because kids aren't just football players. They're football players that have interests outside of the game of football, and they're going to want nirvana, or at least something close to nirvana, as we move ahead in this new era of college football.
Hey, man, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Tell CJ, Smokey, and the guys at the 365 Sports said hi, because we've had him on this show. Phenomenal motor. He made an unbelievable play in that 4th and 1 where his like 2 or 3 fingers kept somebody from moving forward until a teammate could clear it up or clean it up. I thought that was awesome.
He's a man's man.
Thank you, Bryan. Bryan Carrington, cornerbacks coach at Arizona State. He's been at USC. He's from the University of Houston. He's from Texas. He also was a coach at Texas, among others, TCU, and now with Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State University.